Hi, welcome to RCKicks. On today's show, we're starting the build on the Fantom EP-4WD, the 112 little rocket ship that Kyosho have just brought out with their Legendary series. Now, this is a true classic racer, pure racing car. Now, if you haven't seen the unboxing video for this, I'll put a link up here, so go check that out and then come back. You done that? Okay, welcome back. Right. Okay, so all I need to do is lay this out. Now, I opened up the box before, and there's not a lot in it for your what you expected for building a normal car. So it shouldn't take me too long to lay it all out. Now, there is a few upgrades for this car that I've seen. You can get some carbon parts, but unfortunately, nothing's really out at the moment. So you can't really get the new brushless motor from Kyosho. Not so sure whether you can get the electronic speed controller for it either. So electronics may be a bit of a challenge in this one until the parts become available. But we'll kick it off. I'm hoping I can get it to run, but we'll just have to wait and see. Otherwise, there'll be a follow-up video where I pick up more electronics. I get the feeling the electronics from Kyosho is going to make this car quite expensive because space is very limited. It's only 112. It's a tiny little car. So yes, there's a nice place for a motor, but where you fit the electronic speed controller and the servo and the battery is all really, really small. Anyway, it's all good fun, but let's lay it all out. Well, that took a lot less time than it normally does. So we've got A, B, C, D and E, I think is the end one, E, and 4 tiny little wheels. Now, if you've got one of these cars, I would probably recommend picking up a second or third set of these tyres if you're running the car, because I don't see how you're going to be able to get them in 2 years or so. And obviously they're super soft, and they'll crack over a longer period of time. So I will personally be picking up a few more sets of tyres, but obviously they're not out yet. So it's going to take a while for the parts to filter down. Right, so we kick off on page 10, bag A. But I was just flicking through the manual and there's some really good little artwork of things not to do. So what I'll do is I'm going to scan the manual in anyway, and I'll put up randomly some little pictures of stuff that it says that you shouldn't do. And the little artwork's actually really good. Right, okay, so first of all, it's asking us to open bag A and then assemble bag A, which is this one. So let's crack on and get it done. We've now done the front end and the servo saver. Also, I've just done the linkages for the steering. Now we move on to actually attaching it to the chassis. So that was page 11 we've just finished. And now we move on to page 12. Nothing difficult at all on that one. The one that I thought was a bit strange was that you don't put the chain in the front. So I'm guessing you must have to disconnect it and run it through, because it's got no mention of connecting up the chain. Whereas when I built the is this actually broken or is this in one loop? Maybe it's, oh, it's broken. Okay, so you've got to actually attach, oh, this chain's a right mess, I'll have to sort that out. The chain's broken, whereas when I did my Turbo Optima, the chain came complete and you had to fit it and then connect it all up and then screw it all down, so it's a bit different. One little gotcha you got to be careful of is these hubs are not the same. One screws in the opposite direction, so what they've did is they've put a little groove in the top of it, so you can only screw it on one way. But if you're trying to screw it on and it's not going on, it's because you've used the hub for the other side. So just check that to make sure. Apart from that, nothing special at all. I would definitely connect up the top and bottom to these uprights first before you work on the actual shaft itself, because you can just feed the shaft in afterwards. Don't try it first. Should be lovely and smooth and silky. When you do up these bolts at the top, you can put some pressure on them and you still don't get a lot of friction from them. I mean, they don't run free, but you can do them up tight, don't leave them loose. Right, let's attach it to the chassis. The chassis, that's it. Okay, let's carry on. So we've mounted the rear diff and I put a motor in it. Now the electronics that are going in this car are only temporary. I'm actually going to source more relevant ones. I've got the new brushed motor from Kyosho on order, so as soon as that arrives, that will go into the car. Again, same with the servo. What I want is a very fast servo, but I don't have one, probably a half height one, maybe from Savox or something like that. But I'm just going to use my standard. I mean, a 25 kilo servo for this is ridiculous, but it's what I've got lying around and it'll do just for now to get it running. Also the motor, the wiring on the motor is awful, so I will fix that. This is quite a fast motor. This is a Team Orion Element 19 turn, and I've run this before and it's actually quite quick. So I'll just put it in for now. What I'll do off camera is I'll resolder some wires. These are just like, they've been soldered twice. There's like crimps in there and everything, but they'll work just for the sake of getting it running, because I'm running on a bit of a time crunch at the moment because the Fat Fox that I did crashed into a load of other stuff that I had lined up. So I'm now rushing to get this done as fast as possible so that I can bring it to you without a delay. Right, next we got to put the servo in and then we got to put the top plate on. But isn't it dinky? It's tiny. There's not actually a lot to it. Right, let's fit the servo. So there you go, all put together. Isn't it dinky? Look how small it is. No suspension at all. The chain, I managed to get it just about right, so I'm happy with that, because obviously you've got to work within the tolerances of one link. So that went on not too bad actually. Obviously the problem that I have is that I don't have the correct motor and electronic speed controller yet because they haven't been released yet. But I was planning on just putting some other bits and pieces in, but it turns out there's one fundamental problem which stops me from having it running today and just jerry-rigging my own electronics, and that is the servo that it uses is not a standard size servo. It's too small. Now unfortunately the only other size servo I have here today is too small, so I've got too big and too small. The mounting points are here, and it is way too big, massively too big. So I've got to source a completely different size servo. So if you are building one of these, check to see what servos are going to fit before you go building it, because you can't steer it. Now I have no idea at this point which one will fit. I'll have to measure it up, go off and find it. If I find out which one fits that I'm happy with, I'll put a description down here that the one that I'm going to buy. But so I just put in a Kyosho motor just for show today, just so it would hold everything nice and tight. So I took out the one I was planning on running. Next we've got to do the body. So the body doesn't look too difficult. All we've got to do is cut it out. So let's cut it out. Check out one of these videos for some more RC fun.